Before we begin, there is nothing you need to do. No task to finish, no thought to solve. You have already arrived. Imagine that the day you just lived is something physical, something you can gently set down, like a heavy coat, like a bag you've been carrying without realizing how tight your shoulders have become. You don't need to throw it away. You don't need to judge what's inside it. Just place it beside you for now. It will wait. As you listen, notice the simple fact of being supported. Something beneath you, bed, chair, floor, has been holding weight all day long without complaint. It understands pressure. It understands patience. Long before you arrived, it learned how to carry things quietly. Outside your room, the world is still moving quickly. Lights change, messages arrive. Somewhere, clocks insist on measuring every second. But here, in this small pocket of time, none of that matters. You are allowed to move at a different pace now. A slower one, a kinder one. Tonight, we're not going to race through facts or stack ideas on top of each other. We're going to drift. We're going to let curiosity stretch out, like a cat finding a warm patch of sunlight. This is a journey measured not in minutes, but in deep, unhurried noticing. The surface world teaches us to think in sharp edges, deadlines, alerts, angles, and corners and straight lines. But beneath all of that, beneath roads and buildings and floors, there is something older, softer, and far more forgiving. The ground beneath you is not rushed. It does not count hours. It does not worry about tomorrow. It holds time differently, slowly, patiently, with a kind of calm that has never needed improvement. As you rest, imagine your awareness loosening its grip on the surface details of life. Names fade, lists dissolve. The mind, so used to scanning and sorting, begins to lower its volume. Thoughts don't disappear. They simply stretch out, becoming quieter, less urgent. You don't need to picture anything perfectly. Let impressions be vague. Let images come and go. This is not a test. This is an invitation. We are going to move downward, not physically, but imaginatively. Away from noise, away from brightness, away from the pressure to react, down towards something steady and ancient and deeply uninterested in your worries. And as we begin, there is a gentle reassurance in knowing this. The earth has been here for a very long time. It has held storms, oceans, forests, and ice. It has held silence. It can hold you too. For now, simply breathe. Let the day stay where it is and allow yourself to step away from the surface world. The earth does not remember in the way people do. It does not replay moments or feel nostalgia. It does not cling to what has passed. And yet, everything that has ever happened here has left some trace behind. Imagine memory without emotion, memory without judgment, just quiet record-keeping, layered gently one moment at a time. Not stories with characters or drama, but stories made of pressure, heat, movement, and rest. A long record of change, written slowly enough that nothing feels lost. Rain fell, then more rain. Rivers wandered. Seas arrived and left again. Tiny particles settled, then settled again. Over and over, without urgency. Without commentary, if you could listen closely enough, you might hear nothing at all. That's how calm this remembering. The earth does not shout its history. It simply keeps it. Think of how different this is from the way our minds work. Human memory can be sharp and sudden. It can interrupt us when we least expect it. It can pull us backward without warning. But the Earth's memory is not intrusive. It does not demand attention. It waits quietly, indefinitely. This kind of remembering can feel comforting. There is something soothing about knowing that nothing truly disappears. Those moments are not erased, only transformed. That even the smallest events, footsteps, fallen leaves, drifting dust become part of a larger, gentler story. As you lie here, breathing softly, you are also leaving a trace, the warmth of your body, the faint movement of air, the pressure where you rest. These things matter, even if no one is watching them happen. The earth is very good at holding small things. It has had a lot of practice. Over immense stretches of time, layers form, one on top of another. Each one a quiet acknowledgement that something was once here. No layer competes with the others. No layer rushes to be first. They simply exist together, stacked in calm agreement. This way of remembering does not weigh anything down. It does not cling. It does not repeat itself. It just holds. And as you listen, perhaps you can borrow this way of remembering for yourself. You do not need to solve your past tonight. You do not need to relive it or reorganize it. You can let it rest, layered safely beneath you. Thoughts may drift in. That's fine. Let them settle like fine dust. No need to chase them away. No need to follow them. The earth does not rush its memories, and neither do you need to rush yours. Here, in this moment, you are allowed to simply be another quiet layer resting, supported, and gently held in place. The earth has many layers, but tonight we begin with the one closest to us, the crust, a thin skin, relatively speaking, wrapped around a vast and complex interior. It is easy to imagine boundaries as hard or restrictive, walls, barriers, edges that keep things out. But the Earth's crust is a different kind of boundary. It is not sharp, it is not rigid in spirit, it is a place of balance. The crust holds heat below and atmosphere above. It carries oceans without sinking. It supports forests, cities, deserts, and ice. All of this rests on a layer that is constantly quietly adjusting. Nothing about it feels strained. Imagine how much trust it takes to hold so many different things at once. How much patience, how much quiet strength. The crust does not need to announce itself. It simply does its work, moment by moment, year by year, million by million. As you rest, consider how safe boundaries can feel when they are gentle. A blanket, a shoreline. The crust is like that, a soft edge between worlds, allowing exchange without chaos. Below it, warmth and pressure move slowly. Above it, wind and weather pass freely. The crust listens to both without panic. It adapts without urgency. There is something reassuring about this. The idea that stability does not require stiffness. That strength can exist without tension. You might notice your own boundaries now, the outline of your body, the place where you end and the world begins. You don't need to hold yourself tightly. You don't need to brace. Like the crust, you are allowed to rest in balance. Breathing becomes easier when you stop guarding the edges. When you trust what supports you, the earth has never needed to be perfect to remain intact. It has cracked, folded, shifted, and healed countless times, and still it holds. This is a quiet lesson, one that does not ask anything of you. It simply offers an example. As your thoughts slow, imagine them settling near the surface of this vast boundary, not falling through, not floating away, just resting. The crust does not rush anything through. It does not force movement. It allows time to do its work, and here, in this calm space, you are allowed to do the same. Nothing needs to change right now. Nothing needs to be fixed. You are held, gently, at the surface of something ancient and reliable. Most of our lives are measured in small units, hours, days, appointments, deadlines. We learn early on to think this way, and it becomes so familiar that we forget there are other ways to experience time. But the earth does not count minutes. It does not recognize urgency. Its sense of time is wide, slow, and deeply patient. Imagine what it would feel like to think in millions of years, not as a number to calculate, but as a sensation, a long, steady unfolding, like watching shadows move across a wall over the course of an entire afternoon. In this scale of time, nothing is sudden. Even dramatic changes are stretched thin, softened by duration. Mountains rise not with effort, but with persistence. Seas come and go without announcement. When you begin to imagine time this way, something interesting happens. The pressure to keep up begins to fade. Worries that felt heavy a few moments ago start to lose their sharpness. After all, in the context of deep time, a single difficult day is very small. Not unimportant, but small enough to be held gently. You don't need to fully understand this scale. You don't need to picture it clearly. Just letting the idea drift through your mind is enough. Like a distant horizon that reminds you how wide the world really is. The earth has waited through ages of quiet. It has waited through darkness. It has waited through ice and heat and silence. Waiting for it is not an empty time. It is simply time. As you listen, allow your own sense of time to loosen. You are not late. You are not behind. You are exactly where you are. Breaths come and go. Thoughts appear and fade. None of this needs to be tracked. Thinking in millions of years makes room for rest. It reminds the nervous system that not everything needs immediate attention, that there is space, that there is room to pause. If your mind wanders, let it. Wandering is natural here. The earth itself has wandered continents, drifting slowly across its surface, never in a hurry to arrive. Tonight, you are allowed to drift too. Let the idea of vast time settle around you like a quiet fog, not heavy, not overwhelming, just a present, And as this wider sense of time begins to hold you, you may notice something soft happening inside. A slowing, a deepening, a gentle release. The stone moves slowly, so slowly that it can seem still. But stillness, in this sense, is not absence of motion. It is motion spread so thin that it becomes calm. As you rest, imagine your thoughts beginning to move this way, not stopping completely, but stretching out, becoming less crowded, less sharp. Stone does not hurry toward its future. It simply allows time to shape it grain by grain. This is the pace we settle into now. Breathing finds its own rhythm, not forced, not counted, just steady and quiet. Each breath arrives, stays for a moment, and leaves without ceremony. If there is tension in your body, you don't need to push it away. Let it soften in its own time. Stone releases pressure gradually, not all at once. The mind may still offer images, fragments of the day, half-formed thoughts. Let them pass like clouds moving over a long, unmoving landscape. They do not disturb what lies beneath. At this pace, there is no rush to understand everything. Knowledge becomes something you absorb slowly, like warmth seeping into cool ground. The earth has learned this rhythm well. It has practiced it for billions of years. And for now, you are borrowing it. There is nothing fragile about this slowness. It is strong, enduring, reliable. Not watching from afar, just touching it lightly, like a hand resting on a warm stone. Thoughts begin to thin out. Gaps appear between them. These gaps are not empty. They are restful. You don't need to fill them. The pace of stone invites quiet without demanding silence. It allows you to drift without losing yourself. And as this chapter comes to rest, know that we will continue gently downward from here, deeper into the earth's ancient calm, deeper into stillness. For now, simply remain where you are, supported, unrushed, held by something that has always known how to wait. Now that the surface world feels distant, we can begin to look gently beneath it, not by digging, not by breaking anything open, just by imagining. Picture the ground below you as something quietly layered, like folded fabric or stacked pages in a very old book. Each layer rests on the next without pressure, without struggle. The earth does not reveal itself all at once. It prefers patience. It prefers being understood slowly. As you lie here, supported and still, imagine awareness drifting downward, not falling, just easing, passing below grass, pavement, floorboards, below the shallow places where daily life touches the ground. There is no darkness to fear here. The darkness beneath the surface is calm, complete and unbothered. It is the kind of darkness that rests rather than hides. Layers begin to appear, not sharply defined, but suggested soft transitions rather than edges. Each one slightly different in texture, color and density. Some layers feel fine and powdery. Others feel compact and smooth. All of them are settled. Nothing is moving quickly. In fact, nothing is in a hurry to move at all. The idea of layers can be comforting. It suggests order without rigidity, structure without pressure, a quiet stacking of moments, one after another, each one allowed to remain. As you imagine this, notice how your thoughts behave. They may slow to match the image. One thought, then another spaced comfortably apart. No crowding, no competition. The earth does not rush to explain itself. It simply exists, layer upon layer, waiting for curiosity rather than demanding attention. You don't need to picture every detail. Let impressions be soft. Vague images are welcome here. The mind relaxes when it doesn't have to be precise. Each layer beneath you was once something else. Airborne dust, river-carried silt, fragments of older stone. Over time they settled, they rested. They became part of something larger. Resting is a theme here. Settling, finding a place and staying. If your breathing feels shallow, it may naturally deepen now. If your body feels restless, there is no instruction, only invitation. The layers do not judge what comes before or after them. They do not rank themselves. They simply coexist. And as your awareness continues its slow descent, you may begin to feel something subtle and reassuring, the sense that nothing underneath you is fragile. Everything here is supported, held, and balanced. You are not floating over emptiness. You are resting above depth, and depth here is calm. Some of the layers beneath you began as something very small, tiny grains. Dust so fine it once floated in the air. Particles carried gently by water, then released. One by one, they settled, not knowing what they would become. Sediment is the Earth's way of writing without words. Each grain is a moment that decides to rest. Imagine how long it takes for a single layer of sediment to form. Not years. Sometimes thousands of years pass before a layer becomes noticeable, and even then, it remains quiet, unremarkable, easy to overlook. But together, these layers tell a story, not loudly, not dramatically, but faithfully. Rainfall becomes a faint line. A dry season becomes another. A distant storm leaves a subtle signature. Over time, these events stack gently, recording change without commentary. There is something soothing about this kind of record. Nothing is exaggerated. Nothing is erased. Everything is allowed to exist at the scale it naturally occupies. As you imagine sediment settling, notice how similar this feels to the way thoughts arrive when you are very tired. One thought drifts in. It pauses. Then it settles. Another follows. No urgency. No need to hold on to them. The Earth never rushes sediment into place. It waits until each grain is ready to rest. Some grains travel far before settling. Others barely move at all. Both are equally welcome. This can be a comforting idea for the mind, that movement and stillness are not opposites. They are parts of the same slow process. If a memory drifts through your awareness now, let it behave like sediment. No need to analyze it. Let it settle where it wants. It will find its place. Over time, pressure gently increases. The weight of new layers presses down, not harshly, not suddenly. Just enough to help everything stay where it is. Sediment becomes stone this way, not through force, but through patience. The diary beneath you is written in this language. Layer after layer, moment after moment, all preserved quietly. Nothing demands attention. Nothing insists on being read. And yet everything is there. As you rest, imagine yourself becoming part of this gentle record, not fixed forever, not trapped, but acknowledged, present. Your breath continues to rise and fall, leaving its own faint impression in the stillness. Here, even the smallest things matter, especially the smallest things. Pressure is often imagined as something harsh, crushing, unforgiving. But beneath the Earth's surface, pressure behaves differently. Here, pressure is slow, patient, almost polite. It does not arrive all at once. It does not demand immediate change. It simply exists, steady and consistent, giving layers time to adjust. Imagine being gently held rather than squeezed, supported from all sides, evenly, without sharp points. That is how pressure works here. This kind of pressure does not cause panic. It creates stability. Over time, grains that once shifted easily begin to rest more firmly together. Space is close. Connections form, not because they are allowed to. This is an important distinction. Nothing beneath you is being rushed into transformation. Everything happens at a pace that feels almost kind. As you lie here, notice how your own body responds to the idea of gentle pressure. The way the surface beneath you supports your weight. The way a blanket settles around you. Pressure, when evenly applied, can feel comforting, like being grounded, like being reminded where you are. The Earth understands this deeply. As layers press together, they do not lose their identity completely. They become part of something larger, but traces remain. The past is not erased. It is integrated. This can be reassuring for the mind. You do not have to discard your experiences to rest. You do not have to compress yourself into something new tonight. You are allowed to simply be held as you are. The pressure beneath the surface is constant, but never alarming. It does not fluctuate wildly. It does not surprise me. In this steady environment, change becomes gentle, predictable. Safe, breathing slows. Muscles soften. The nervous system begins to recognize that nothing is about to happen suddenly. There is no collapse here, no urgency, no threat. Only time doing what it has always done, quietly encouraging things to settle into place. If you notice your thoughts becoming heavier, slower, that is not a problem. That is pressure working the way it should. The Earth has spent billions of years perfecting this balance. It knows how to hold weight without harm. And tonight, you are allowed to experience that same kind of support. Beneath the surface, the Earth is not dull or uniform. It is rich with quiet variation. Colors appear where you might not expect them. Deep reds from iron, soft greens from ancient minerals. Muted yellows, grays, browns, all layered gently together. These colors are not bright. They do not demand attention. They exist softly, like tones in a dimly lit room. Textures vary too. Some layers feel smooth, almost polished by time. Others feel rough, grainy, complex. Each texture is the result of long, patient processes. Nothing here was designed to impress, and yet everything is quietly beautiful. Imagine brushing your awareness across these layers, not touching them directly, just sensing their presence. Coolness, density, stillness. There is something deeply calming about hidden beauty, beauty that exists whether or not anyone notices it. The earth does not decorate itself for an audience. It creates naturally, slowly, without concern for recognition. As you imagine these textures and colors, your mind may begin to wander less. Visual curiosity can be soothing when it isn't sharp or demanding. Let images remain soft around the edges, like something seen through half-closed eyes. This kind of beauty does not wake the mind, it gently occupies it. You may notice thoughts slowing further now. The gaps between them are growing longer, sensations becoming more prominent than ideas. This is a natural shift. The deeper you go, the less there is to analyze. The more there is to simply experience. Hidden beauty invites rest because it does not ask anything of you. It is there. That is enough. And as you continue to rest, supported above these unseen layers, you can take comfort in knowing that complexity does not always mean chaos. That richness can exist quietly. The earth beneath you is intricate, layered, and endlessly varied. And still, it is calm. That calm is beginning to spread. Now imagine a pause, not movement downward, not movement upward, just rest. Picture awareness settling between layers, suspended in a space that feels neither heavy nor empty, a place of balance, of quiet holding. Here, nothing presses from above or below, everything simply exists in relation. This is a deeply restful place for the mind, thoughts slow to a near standstill. Not because they are forced to stop, but because there is no need for them to continue. Breathing becomes steady and automatic. The body knows what to do. Between layers, time loses its sharp edges. Moments stretch. The idea of before and after softens. This is where drowsiness often begins to deepen, not suddenly, but like a gentle dimming of lights. If sleep arrives here, that is perfectly fine. If it doesn't, that is fine too. Rest is happening regardless. The earth spends much of its existence in states like this, paused, balanced, waiting without anticipation. Nothing underneath you is rushing to become something else, and neither are you. As this chapter comes to a close, imagine this resting place holding you gently, like a shelf made of calm itself. Above you, the surface world continues, distant and irrelevant. Below you, depth waits patiently. For now, you are exactly where you need to be, still, supported, and drifting slowly. Some of the most powerful movements on Earth happen without sensation, no vibration, no sound, no warning. Beneath the calm surface, enormous plates of rock are always in motion. But this motion is so slow, so patient, that a lifetime can pass without feeling even the faintest hint of it. Imagine motion that does not disturb rest, motion that does not interrupt sleep, motion that does not demand attention. This is the kind of movement the Earth prefers. The ground beneath you is drifting at roughly the speed your fingernails grow. Sometimes slower, sometimes barely at all. It moves with such restraint that the body never notices. This is not the motion of urgency. It is the motion of permission. Nothing is being pushed, nothing is being forced. The plates glide because time allows them to. As you lie here, supported and still, it can be comforting to know that even the largest forces in the world are not always dramatic. Some of them work quietly, invisibly, beneath awareness. Your own body understands this. Blood moves through you without noise. Cells renew themselves without asking for attention. Breath continues even when the mind drifts elsewhere. Not all motion needs to be felt to be real. The Earth has been moving this way for hundreds of millions of years. Continents wandering gently, never lost, never rushed. Imagine the surface above these plates as something floating, not fragile, not unstable, simply carried. This is a calming idea. That support does not require stillness. That movement and rest can exist together. As your thoughts slow, they may begin to mirror this motion. Ideas drift without colliding. Attention slides from one sensation to another without effort. Nothing needs to arrive anywhere tonight. There is no destination here. Only gradual change, spread so thin it becomes peaceful. If you notice your mind beginning to loosen its grip, let it. This is the rhythm of things that last. The Earth has learned that quiet motion is often the safest kind. And here, resting above it, you are allowed to trust that nothing sudden is coming. Where tectonic plates meet, it is tempting to imagine conflict, collisions, crashing force, violence beneath the surface. But most of the time, these edges meet gently. They press slowly, slide carefully, adjust over immense stretches of time. There is no impact in the way we usually imagine it. No sharp moment of contact. Instead, there is conversation. One plate moves slightly, the other responds. Pressure builds not explosively, but patiently. Adjustments happen so slowly that they feel stillness. This is how the Earth negotiates change. Boundaries here are not places of danger. They are places of relationship. As you rest, consider how different this is from the way we often think about edges in our own lives. Boundaries can feel tense, charged, demanding. But beneath the Earth, boundaries are quiet agreements. Places where one thing acknowledges another. Nothing rushes to dominate. Nothing needs to win. Sometimes plates move apart. Sometimes they slide past each other. Sometimes one eases beneath another. Each interaction follows its own slow logic. There is no hurry to resolve anything. This can be a reassuring image for a tired mind, that even when forces meet, they do not always create chaos. That contact can be calm. As your awareness continues to drift, imagine thoughts behaving this way too. When ideas meet, they do not clash. They pass. They overlap. There is no argument to resolve, no conclusion to reach. The Earth does not fear its edges. It trusts them. Over time, these meeting points create mountains, valleys, and ocean basins. But those outcomes are so far removed from the initial motion that the process never feels aggressive. Everything happens at a scale that allows rest. If you feel tension somewhere in your body, imagine it as an edge slowly easing, adjusting without urgency, not disappearing, just softening. The Earth teaches us that stability does not require rigidity, that movement does not require an alarm. And as you rest here supported by these quiet negotiations beneath you, there is nothing you need to brace for. Everything is already moving as slowly as it needs to. Mountains often look solid and permanent, as if they appeared fully formed and decided to stay. But mountains are not events. They are conversations, long conversations between plates that press together so slowly that the land has time to rise without stress. A millimeter here, a fraction there. Over millions of years, the surface lifts not suddenly, not violently, but patiently. Imagine pressure that never surprises. The Earth does not shove mountains upward. It encourages them to emerge gradually, like a thought that takes a long time to fully form. This slowness matters. It allows stone to bend rather than break. It allows the land to adjust without panic. As you picture this, let the idea of gradual change settle into your mind. Not everything needs a dramatic turning point. Some of the most meaningful transformations happen quietly, over time. The mountains you see today are the result of endless patience, of persistence, without urgency. They were never rushed into existence. As your body rests, imagine tension lifting in the same way, slowly, almost imperceptibly. No moment where everything changes, just a gentle easing. The Earth does not ask mountains to hurry. It allows them to take as long as they need. Even now, mountains are still changing, still adjusting, still listening to the pressures beneath them. Nothing about them is frozen. This can be comforting, that even things that look fixed are allowed to change, that permanence is not required to be stable. As you lie here, breathing softly, let the image of mountains remind you that strength does not need speed, that endurance often looks like stillness. Your thoughts may feel heavier now, slower. That is not a problem. That is your mind matching the pace of the stone. The conversation continues beneath you, endlessly calm, and you are not required to listen closely. Just being here is enough. Not all movement brings things together. Sometimes it creates space. Far beneath the oceans, plates drift apart so slowly that new ground forms between them. Molten rock rises, cools, and becomes part of the crust. This process does not announce itself. It does not create spectacle. It happens quietly. Under miles of water, in complete darkness, the new ocean floor forms without urgency. Imagine something new emerging without effort, without attention, simply because there is room for it. This is another way the Earth changes, by allowing space to open gradually. The oceans themselves are the result of this patient widening. Basins that took millions of years to form, then slowly filled with water. Nothing rushed to fill them. Rain fell. Rivers flowed. The ice melted. Over time, the space became something vast and calm. As you rest, this image can feel soothing. The idea that emptiness does not need to be feared, that space can become something gentle if your mind feels open, unfocused, drifting. That is a natural response to this kind of imagery. Space invites rest. The earth does not rush to close gaps. It allows them to exist. Sometimes, creating space is the most important movement of all. That rest can be an expansion. That slowing down can feel like opening rather than stopping. Your awareness may feel wider now, less centered on any single thought. This is not losing focus. This is releasing it. The oceans were born this way, quietly, patiently, without instruction. And tonight, your mind is allowed to do the same. Now imagine letting go completely, not falling, not sinking, just drifting. Picture continents floating gently atop the Earth's interior, carried by forces too slow to feel. No effort required, no control needed. They do not steer themselves. They do not resist. They simply move as time allows. This is one of the most restful images the Earth offers. Nothing is clinging. Nothing is being dragged. Everything is supported. As you rest, imagine yourself drifting with them, not as land, but as awareness, carried without effort, supported without strain. There is nowhere you need to go. Movement happens whether or not you participate. You are allowed to rest within it. Breathing becomes softer now. Thoughts become faint. Or body settles deeper into stillness. This is the kind of drifting that does not wake you. It lulls. The Earth has been drifting like this for as long as it has existed. Continents meeting and parting, never in a hurry to arrive. Tonight, you are allowed to share this rhythm. No goals, no direction, no urgency. Just slow movement held within deep calm. And as this chapter fades, awareness begins to sink even further, ready to explore warmth, depth, and stillness beyond motion. For now, continue drifting. The Earth will carry you. As movement fades into the background, something else becomes noticeable. Warmth. Not the sharp heat of fire, not the intensity of flame, but a deep, steady warmth that has always been there, quietly radiating from within the Earth. Beneath the crust, heat rises slowly, patiently. It does not surge. It does not demand release. It simply exists, constant and reliable. This warmth is ancient. It has been present since the planet first began to take shape, lingering gently through billions of years. It is not urgent. It has nowhere to go. Imagine warmth that does not burn, warmth that does not threaten, warmth that feels like being near something alive and calm. The Earth's interior is not cold or empty. It is active in the quietest possible way. Energy circulates slowly, like a long breath taken over millions of years. As you rest, imagine this warmth beneath you, far below the surface, steady and reassuring. It does not rise suddenly. It does not intrude. It simply supports. This kind of warmth can be comforting to think about. It suggests continuity, presence. A reminder that even in deep stillness, something gentle is always happening. Your own body responds naturally to warmth. Muscles soften, breathing deepens. The nervous system relaxes. The Earth offers this same sensation, just on a much larger scale. As awareness drifts downward, the idea of heat becomes less about intensity and more about stability. A quiet hum beneath everything. There is no need to picture it clearly. Let it remain abstract, a sense rather than an image. This warmth does not wake the mind. It invites rest. And as your thoughts slow further, you may notice that imagining this gentle heat makes the world feel less sharp, less demanding. The Earth is warm because it is alive in its own way. Not alive like a person or an animal, but active, present, ongoing. And tonight, you are allowed to rest near that presence. Deep beneath the crust, rock does something unexpected. It flows, not quickly, not dramatically, but slowly enough that it behaves almost like a thick liquid, moving over vast stretches of time. Molten rock does not rush. It does not splash or churn. It moves the way honey moves when it is cold, thick, deliberate, patient. Imagine motion so slow it feels like stillness, motion that takes centuries to cross the space of a room. This is the pace of the Earth's inner movement. Nothing here is chaotic. Nothing is unpredictable. The heat simply allows stone to soften, to adjust, to circulate. As you imagine this slow flow, notice how calming it feels compared to images of fire or eruption. This is not destruction, this is maintenance. The earth redistributes its warmth gently, ensuring balance rather than disruption. This process does not need to be watched. It does not need to be managed. It has been happening successfully for longer than anything else you know. Your mind may respond to this image by slowing even more. Thoughts may feel heavier, less inclined to jump from one thing to another. This is a natural response. The slow flow beneath the crust mirrors the way sleep approaches. Not suddenly, but gradually, awareness thickens. Attention drifts. There is no moment when sleep must arrive. It simply moves closer, quietly. The earth understands this kind of transition well. As you rest, imagine your thoughts flowing the same way, slow, unhurried, unforced. If a thought moves, it moves gently. If it stays, it stays. Nothing needs to be decided tonight. Molten rock moves without direction or destination. It circulates because time allows it to. And here, supported above it, you are allowed to let go of direction too. When people think of volcanoes, they often imagine sudden explosions, bright light, noise, force. But long before any eruption, there is silence. Deep beneath the surface, heat gathers slowly. Pressure builds so gradually that nothing feels tense. Molten rock collects patiently, waiting, without urgency. For most of their existence, volcanoes are quiet. They are places of warmth and stillness, not drama. Imagine a volcano before it ever erupts, long before, when it is simply a warm region beneath the earth, gently circulating heat, barely moving at all. This image is far removed from danger. It is calm, almost restful. The earth does not rush toward eruption. It allows immense spans of time to pass before anything changes at the surface. As you rest, consider how many things in life feel loud only at the very end of long, quiet processes. The quiet parts are far more common. Your own thoughts may work this way too. Long periods of stillness punctuated by brief moments of activity. Right now, you are in the quiet part. There is nothing building toward anything, nothing waiting to burst. The warmth beneath you is contained, balanced, and patient. This understanding can help the body relax further. There is no reason to stay alert. No sudden shift is coming. The earth has always favored preparation over urgency. And here, in this moment, you are allowed to trust that calm is the default state. Volcanoes spend most of their time simply being warm. And tonight, warmth is all you need. Eventually, heat gives way to rest. Molten rock cools, slowly, gently, without resistance. As temperature decreases, movement slows even further. Flow becomes a pause. Softness becomes solidity. This process does not feel abrupt. There is no moment where everything suddenly changes. Cooling happens the way evening happens. Gradually, almost unnoticed. Imagine warmth fading into a comfortable neutral. Not cold, just calm. As rock cools, it hardens into place, becoming part of the crust, stable, supportive. At rest, this cycle warmth movement. Cooling, rest has repeated endlessly throughout the Earth's history. It is a reassuring pattern. Nothing is stuck, nothing is forced. As you listen, you may notice your own body following a similar rhythm. Muscles releasing, breathing slowly. Thoughts are becoming fewer. The nervous system recognizes this signal. It understands cooling as a cue for rest. Nothing needs to be done to encourage this. It happens naturally when conditions are right. The earth does not resist cooling. It allows it, and you are allowed to do the same. If sleep feels closer now, let it be. If it still feels distant, that is fine too. Rest is happening regardless. Cooling does not rush. It simply unfolds. And as this section settles, awareness begins to feel heavier, more grounded, more still. Now imagine resting at a comfortable distance from the Earth's inner warmth. Not too close, not too far, just near enough to feel supported. Here, warmth is steady and reassuring, like sitting near a distant hearth. It does not flicker. It does not change suddenly. The Earth's core continues its slow work far below, unseen and unfelt. It does not disturb the surface. It simply sustains. As you rest here, imagine being held in a stable zone, where nothing presses, nothing pulls, nothing demands. Thoughts may be very faint now, or they may drift in and out without form. This is normal. Awareness is becoming less interested in movement, less curious about change. That is a sign of deepening rest. The Earth does not ask you to pay attention to its core. It does not need acknowledgement. and you do not need to stay awake to continue this journey. As this chapter fades, the warmth remains, steady and patient. Above, the crust rests below. The earth continues quietly, and between them, you are safe to drift. Every rock has lived more than one life. It may look still and finished now, but it did not begin that way. It has been something else before, and before that, something else again. A grain of sand once drifted in the air. A crystal once cooled slowly in darkness. A pebble once belonged to a mountain. Rocks are not static objects, they are travelers through time. They change so slowly that we forget they are changing at all, but change is woven into them, quietly and continuously. As you rest, imagine the stone beneath you remembering its earlier forms, not consciously, not emotionally, but through structure and texture layers, hinting at pressure. Crystals revealing cooling, rounded edges telling stories of water. These stories do not need to be read in order. They do not need interpretation, they simply exist. This can be comforting for a tired mind. The idea that nothing needs to arrive fully formed. That happens gradually, through many stages, without judgment. You do not need to be finished tonight. You do not need to be complete. Rocks are never truly finished either. They shift from one form to another as conditions change. Heat, pressure, water, time each leaves a mark, then steps back. Nothing about this process is rushed. As you lie here, imagine your own experiences layering this way. Not erased, not discarded, simply reshaped, slowly, into something that fits where you are now. They do not cling to what they used to be, they allow time to work. This permission is important. Thoughts may drift by now without weight. Memories may appear briefly, then fade. Let them behave like stone, solid, but not demanding. The earth has never asked rocks to hurry into their next form. And tonight, nothing is asking that of you either. Some rocks are born from heat, deep below the surface. Molten material cools slowly, crystallizing as it rests. This cooling can take thousands of years, sometimes millions. Igneous stone forms without urgency. Each crystal grows at its own pace, fitting together without force. Imagine something forming with no pressure to finish. No deadline, no expectation. The result is strong, balanced. Igneous rocks do not remember fire as something violent. For them, heat was simply the condition that allowed structure to emerge. This reframing matters. It suggests that intensity does not always harm. Sometimes it prepares. As you rest, consider moments in your own life that felt intense but did not break you, that slowly cooled into something stable. Nothing here needs to be relieved, just acknowledged gently. The crystals in igneous stone are not rushed into place. They align naturally, guided by temperature and time. This process produces strength without tension. Your body understands this idea intuitively. When stress fades slowly rather than suddenly, rest feels deeper, breathing becomes smoother. Muscles release without effort. Igneous stone teaches us that calm often arrives after warmth, not before it. And now, warmth has already passed. Cooling is underway. Your awareness continues to settle, becoming heavier, more grounded, more still. There is no need to follow every word. Sound itself can be enough. The earth does not mind if you stop listening consciously. Other rocks are formed not from heat, but from waiting. Sedimentary stone begins as fragments, pieces of other things. Sand, silt, shell, dust all carried gently by wind or water. They gather slowly. They rest. They allow pressure to do its quiet work. This is the rock of patience. Nothing dramatic happens when sediment becomes stone. There is no clear moment of change, just gradual settling, layer by layer. Imagine something becoming solid, simply by staying where it is. There is something deeply restful about that idea. You do not need to move to become grounded. You do not need to change to be supported. Sedimentary stone holds time gently. Each layer remains visible, even after transformation. Nothing is erased. This can be soothing for the mind, especially when tired. You do not have to let go of everything to rest. You can simply lie where you are. Thoughts may continue to arrive, but they no longer pile up. They settle. They spread out. Pressure increases slowly, but never sharply, just enough to bring things together. The earth is very good at waiting. As you listen, extending to you. There is no rush to sleep, no requirement to drift. Rest is already happening. The stone beneath you learned this long ago. Some rocks change while remaining themselves. Metamorphic stone forms when heat and pressure reshape existing rock. Without melting it completely, The structure adjusts, crystals realign. Strength increases. This happens quietly, beneath the surface. No explosion. No sudden shift. Just gradual transformation. Metamorphic change respects what already exists. It does not destroy it, it refines it. This can feel reassuring to think about. That change does not always mean loss. That becoming something new does not require erasing what came before. As you rest, imagine your own experiences settling into a stronger arrangement. Not rewritten, not replaced. Simply adjusted to fit where you are now. Metamorphic stone carries traces of its earlier forms, woven into its structure. Nothing is wasted. The earth does not hurry this process. It allows time to shape things gently. Your body responds to this idea by letting go further. Shoulders soften, jaw loosens, breath deepens. There is no urgency here. Only steady adaptation. Change, when spread over enough time, feels like rest. Eventually, every rock reaches a period of rest. It may still change in small ways. The weather may be slow, but for long stretches it simply exists, stable, quiet, present. Imagine a stone resting beneath the surface, held by surrounding layers, untouched by light or sound. Nothing asks it to move. Nothing asks it to become anything else. This is the state we settle into now. Awareness becomes heavy, like stone resting in place. Thoughts become sparse. Sensations soften. You do not need to follow the story anymore. The rhythm can carry you. The earth rests this way often. Long pauses between changes, long periods of stillness, and you are allowed to share that stillness now. As this chapter fades, rest deepens. And here, between them, sleep is welcome to arrive whenever it chooses. Even the most solid stone is not separate from the world around it. Air touches everything. It moves quietly across surfaces, invisible and patient, carrying moisture, temperature, and time. When air meets stone, nothing dramatic happens. There is no sound, no visible reaction, just contact. Over long stretches of time, this contact matters. Tiny changes begin. Minerals react gently with oxygen. Surfaces soften almost imperceptibly. Edges lose their sharpness. Stone does not resist this. It does not brace itself. It allows air to pass again and again until change becomes part of its shape. This is weathering at its calmest. Not forceful, not intentional, just a present. Your own breathing follows this same quiet pattern. In, out, no effort required. The earth never asks air to hurry. Wind can be fast or slow, but its influence on stone remains gentle, spread across time. This can feel reassuring to the mind. That even constant exposure does not have to feel like pressure. That contact does not have to mean disturbance. Thoughts may pass through awareness the same way, lightly, without staying long, without leaving a mark. Stone weathers not because it is weak, but because it is patient. As you lie here, imagine your mind becoming patient too, allowing thoughts to pass without engagement, without reaction. Air does not cling. It touches, then moves on, and stone remains, changed only in the softest ways. Nothing here is urgent. Nothing here demands attention, just slow interaction, repeated gently until rest deepens. Water is one of the most patient forces the earth has ever known. It does not rush stone into change. It visits again and again, lightly, persistently, without expectation. A drop of water rests on a surface. It seeps into tiny spaces. It freezes, it melts, it moves on. None of this happens quickly. Water does not strike. It lingers. Over time, these visits matter. Surfaces smooth. Edges round, stone responds without protest. As you imagine this, notice how different this is from the way change is often portrayed. No force, no struggle, just repetition and time. Water teaches the earth how to soften without breaking. As you rest, imagine water moving slowly across stone, the way thoughts move across your awareness now, gently, without insistence. You do not need to hold on to any thought. You do not need to push it away. Let it flow. The earth trusts water because it never demands quick results. Rain falls when it falls. Rivers move at their own pace. Ice expands and releases without urgency. These cycles repeat endlessly without stress. Your nervous system recognizes this rhythm. It responds by slowing down, breathing deepens, muscles release, awareness drifts. There is something deeply calming about knowing that even stone is allowed to soften. Nothing beneath you is rigid with tension, and you do not need to be either. Water changes the earth not by force, but by staying present long enough for change to happen naturally. Tonight, presence is enough. Sometimes change comes from motion, not violent motion, no collision, but gentle brushing repeated endlessly. Wind carries tiny grains of sand across stone surfaces. Each grain is small, almost weightless. On its own, it seems insignificant, but together, over long periods of time, they shape landscapes. Wind does not carve quickly. It does not rush its work. It passes over the same surfaces again and again, smoothing, rounding, softening. This kind of change is quiet. As you rest, imagine wind moving across open land, barely stirring, carrying particles that touch stone, then drift away. Nothing lingers. Nothing pressed. This is another lesson in patience. Change does not need intensity to be effective. It needs time. Your own thoughts may behave similarly now, light impressions brushing past awareness. No need to follow them. The mind begins to enjoy this lightness, the lack of weight, the absence of urgency. Stone allows itself to be shaped this way because it trusts time. It knows that nothing happens all at once. As your awareness drifts, you may notice longer pauses between thoughts, more empty space, less need to interpret. This is not emptiness, it is rest. Wind never asks stone to respond. It simply passes, and stone remains, gradually becoming smoother, more rounded, more at ease. Tonight, your mind is allowed to smooth itself this way. Over long enough time, weathering leads to erosion, not destruction. Release fragments loosen. Pieces separate. Material moves away gently, carried by water or wind. Erosion does not tear things apart. It allows them to let go. This process is slow enough that nothing feels sudden. Nothing feels lost. What leaves one place becomes part of another. This is the Earth's way of redistributing weight. As you rest, imagine small pieces of thought releasing from your awareness, not pushed away, simply allowed to drift elsewhere. You do not need to carry everything tonight. The Earth does not cling to every grain forever. It knows when to let things move on. Erosion creates space. It opens room for rest, for balance, for renewal. This can be deeply soothing to imagine. If there is something your mind keeps returning to, imagine it slowly loosening, becoming lighter, less attached. Nothing is being erased. It is simply moving to a place where it belongs. Erosion is not an ending, it is a continuation, and continuation does not require effort. As this idea settles, the sense of self softens. Awareness becomes more diffuse. You are not holding on to the story anymore. The Earth trusts that what leaves will be carried gently, and you can trust that too. Eventually, stone becomes sand, not suddenly, not completely, but gradually, piece by piece. Sand is not a failure of stone. It is another form of rest. Small, loose grains that no longer need to hold shape. That moves easily, they settle wherever they land. Sand does not resist gravity. It does not resist water. It flows and rests naturally. As you imagine this transformation, notice how it feels. Lightness, release, ease. The Earth does not mourn the loss of stone. It welcomes sand as part of the cycle. Sand rests on beaches, in deserts, beneath oceans, always supported, always held. As this chapter comes to rest, imagine your awareness becoming sand-like, unfixed, gently settling. Thoughts no longer stack, they spread out, then thin. You do not need to follow the journey further if sleep arrives now. The Earth continues patiently, with or without attention, and you are allowed to drift fully into rest. After stone softens and releases, water becomes more noticeable. Not rushing water, not falling water, but water at rest. Imagine a wide, still lake. Its surface is smooth, unbroken, reflecting nothing in particular. Beneath that surface, layers of cooler and warmer water rest quietly together, barely moving. Water, when it is not being pushed by wind or slope, prefers stillness. It settles naturally into calm shapes, basins, hollows, gentle curves. It does not resist gravity. It cooperates with it. As you rest, imagine your thoughts behaving this way. Instead of climbing or falling, they level out. They spread evenly. They rest. Water does not hold tension. Even when disturbed, it returns to stillness on its own. Ripples fade, waves flatten. Motion dissolves back into calm. The Earth understands this cycle well. Rivers move because they must, but lakes, ponds, and deep oceans spend most of their time simply being still. There is something deeply reassuring about that. As your breathing continues, imagine each breath like a small ripple on water, appearing briefly, then fading without trace. Nothing needs to be controlled. The water beneath the Earth's surface behaves this way too. Groundwater moves slowly through rock, seeping, pausing, resting for years or centuries at a time. Stillness is the norm. This kind of slow presence encourages the mind to let go of effort, to stop scanning, to stop anticipating. Awareness becomes flatter, wider, less focused on any one point. If sleep arrives here, it arrives gently, like water settling into its container. Nothing is lost, nothing is missed. When water does move, it does not always hurry. Some rivers flow so slowly that their motion is almost invisible. They bend and wander, taking long paths across open land, never rushing to arrive anywhere. These rivers do not carve sharply. They ease their way forward, shaping the land gradually, patiently. Imagine walking beside one. Its surface is barely disturbed, its current steady, unremarkable. Nothing dramatic happens here. The river does not rush because it does not need to. It knows it will reach its destination eventually. Time is on its side. As you rest, this image can feel soothing. That progress does not require urgency, that arriving is inevitable, even at the slowest pace. Your own thoughts may drift this way now, wandering rather than leaping, moving without purpose. There is no goal here, only flow. Rivers slow even more when they widen. As they approach open water, they spread out, losing speed, becoming calm. This transition feels natural. Effort fades. Motion softens. The Earth prefers this kind of ending. As awareness follows this slow river, attention becomes less sharp, more diffuse. You may no longer be listening to every word. That is expected. Sound itself becomes part of the landscape, like water passing quietly by. The river continues whether or not it is observed, and you are free to rest alongside it. In some places, water becomes still in another way. It becomes ice. Ice does not rush into existence. It forms gradually, as temperature drops gently, allowing molecules to settle into place. This settling creates structure, stability, quiet order. Ice holds water without effort. It pauses movement. It creates stillness. Glaciers are the purest example of this patience. Vast rivers of ice that move so slowly they appear frozen in time. They advance and retreat over thousands of years, shaping the land without force. Imagine ice resting over stone, pressing gently, evenly. No sudden weight, no strain. This pressure does not alarm the Earth. It is familiar, balanced. As you rest, imagine this kind of holding around your thoughts, not freezing them, but quieting them, slowing them enough to rest. Ice reflects light softly. It makes a dull sound. It absorbs urgency. In icy landscapes, everything feels quieter. The Earth uses ice to rest parts of itself, and you are allowed to rest this way too. Awareness becomes cool and calm, not cold, just quiet. Breathing remains steady. Muscles release further. Nothing is expected of you here. Ice does not hurry to melt. It waits until conditions change, and you do not need to change anything right now. Eventually, ice releases its hold, not suddenly, not completely, but gradually. As temperatures rise, ice softens, movement returns slowly. Water resumes its gentle flow. This transition is calm, predictable, safe. The Earth does not resist thawing. It allows change when it is time. As you rest, this cycle can feel reassuring. That stillness and movement are not opposites. They follow each other naturally. Nothing is stuck forever. Nothing is forced to change before it is ready. If your mind feels suspended between wakefulness and sleep, that is a natural place to be, a thawing space. Thoughts may appear briefly, then dissolve. Awareness drifts without direction. This is not something you need to manage. The Earth does not manage its cycles, it allows them. And here, in this quiet place, you are allowed to let go of control as well. Rest deepens. Water and ice are two of the Earth's favorite ways to carry time. They move slowly. They pause often. They return again and again. Nothing is hurried. Nothing is wasted. As this chapter comes to rest, imagine time itself behaving like water, flowing gently around you, not pressing, not pulling. You are not behind. You are not early. You are simply here. Awareness feels wide now, soft, unfocused. Sleep may come, or it may hover nearby. Either way, you are resting. The earth continues its slow work beneath you, unconcerned with attention, and you are free to drift as deeply as you wish. Long before names, before stories, before memory as we know it, life moved slowly across the earth, not with intention, not with ambition, just with rhythm. Early life did not rush to become anything else. It existed because conditions allowed it to. It rested when rest was needed. It moved when movement was possible. There was no urgency in this world. Imagine shallow seas warmed by sunlight, calm and wide. Small organisms drift gently carried by water, responding only to light, temperature, and time. Nothing competed, nothing planned. Life unfolded quietly, one moment at a time. As you rest, imagine this early world not as something distant or unfamiliar, but as something deeply calm. A place where being was enough. These lives were simple but not fragile. They persisted for immense spans of time without needing to change much at all. This can feel reassuring. The idea that stability does not always require complexity, that survival does not always require effort. As your awareness drifts, notice how your own body responds to this image. Muscles soften, breathing slows. The nervous system recognizes a world without urgency. There is no future to anticipate here, no past to regret, just existence unfolding quietly. And though these lives ended, their presence did not disappear. They remained. Sometimes life rested long enough to leave an impression. A shell settled into soft sediment. A leaf pressed gently into mud. A body came to rest beneath water. Over time, layers formed above. Pressure increased slowly. Minerals moved in, replacing what once was living tissue. This process did not feel like a loss. It felt like preservation. Fossils are not moments frozen in fear or struggle. They are moments that were allowed to rest undisturbed. Nothing rushed this transformation. Sediment protected what lay beneath. Water filtered slowly through. Stone formed gently around shape and space. Life did not vanish. It changed form. As you imagine this, notice how comforting this idea can be. That rest itself can become a record. That stillness can be remembered. Fossils are the Earth's way of holding on to quiet lives. They do not tell stories of action. They tell stories of presence. As you rest, imagine being held this way, not fixed forever, just acknowledged. The Earth does not fossilize. It fossilizes stillness. And tonight, stillness is all that matters. Fossils rest in silence. They do not call attention to themselves. They do not announce what they once were. They wait, sometimes for millions of years. In that time, continents drift, oceans open and close, mountains rise and erode, and still fossils remain quietly embedded. This silence is not emptiness. It is patience. The Earth does not forget these lives, but it does not dwell on them either. It holds them gently without urgency. As you rest, imagine this silence spreading outward, filling the spaces between thoughts, softening edges. Nothing needs to be remembered tonight. Nothing needs to be held tightly. Silence does not mean absence. It means rest. Your awareness may feel very light now, or very heavy, or simply vague. All of these are signs of deep rest. The Earth's silence is not lonely. It is complete. And here, at this moment, you are allowed to share it. Not all fossils are bones or shells. Some are footprints, impressions, subtle disturbances in ancient sediment, a ripple frozen in stone, a trail left by something that passed quietly through. These traces do not tell dramatic stories. They do not explain intentions or outcomes. They simply say, something was here, and that is enough. As you rest, imagine your own presence this way. You do not need to leave a mark tonight. You do not need to explain yourself. Being here is sufficient. The Earth does not ask fossils to speak. It does not ask them to perform. It allows them to remain quiet. This can feel deeply comforting in a world that often asks us to explain, to justify, to be visible. Here, nothing asks anything of you. Awareness drifts further inward. Outward details fade. Thoughts thin. You may feel yourself hovering at the edge of sleep now, or already drifting through it. Both are welcome. The Earth holds its quiet lives without demand, and you are held the same way. Now imagine resting among these ancient traces, not observing them, not studying them, simply resting in the same deep stillness. Here, time feels wide and gentle. Life and stone blend together without distinction. Nothing feels separate. The earth does not divide living from non-living the way we do. Everything participates in the same slow processes. As this chapter comes to rest, imagine yourself as part of this quiet continuity, not important, not insignificant, just a present. Awareness grows dimmer, heavier, softer. Sleep may arrive fully here, carried gently by the calm of deep time. And if it does, the earth will continue quietly, holding everything just as it is. Some places on earth are not meant to be crossed or climbed. They are meant to be entered slowly. Caves form where water has lingered long enough to make space, not by force, not by collapse, but by quiet patience. Imagine approaching the mouth of a cave. There is no sharp edge, no sudden opening. Just a gentle curve inward, a gradual invitation away from the surface world. Inside, sound changes immediately. It softens, echoes become distant. The air feels still, cool, undisturbed. Caves do not feel empty, they feel held. As you rest, imagine awareness stepping into this sheltered space. Not walking, not moving with effort, just easing inside. Light fades naturally. Darkness arrives without drama. This darkness is not threatening. It is complete, restful, and calm. Nothing inside the cave is in a hurry. Water drips slowly. Stone rests. Air barely moves. The outside world continues far away, but its urgency does not enter here. This sense of enclosure can be deeply soothing to the nervous system. It signals safety, protection, a place where vigilance can finally release. As your breathing continues, imagine each breath becoming quieter, deeper, more regular. The cave does not ask you to be alert. It does not ask you to watch or listen closely. It simply offers space to rest. You are not expected to explore. You are not expected to understand. You are allowed to be still. Darkness inside the earth is different from night. It is not the absence of light waiting to be filled. It is a presence in itself. Cave darkness is soft, complete. It does not flicker or shift. It does not react to movement. This kind of darkness feels stable. As you imagine resting within it, notice how your mind responds. Visual effort fades. The need to identify or label disappears. Darkness allows the mind to stop working so hard. Nothing needs to be seen clearly here. The earth has held darkness like this for billions of years. Long before eyes evolved, long before light was necessary. Darkness is not an interruption. It is a natural state. As awareness settles further, thoughts may lose their shape. Images dissolve into impressions. Language becomes less important. This is not confusion. It is a rest. The cave does not need light to know it exists, and you do not need clarity to rest. Breathing becomes automatic. Muscles release further. There is no reason to move, no reason to stay alert. Darkness holds everything gently, without preference. And here, held within it, you are safe to let go. Inside caves, stone reveals one of its most patient qualities, stillness. Not the temporary stillness of something waiting to move, but a deep, settled stillness that has no intention of changing. Walls do not shift. Ceilings do not hurry. Floors rest exactly where they are. This kind of stillness is rare at the surface. It feels different. As you rest here, imagine leaning gently against stone that has not moved in thousands of years. Not cold, just steady. Stone inside caves has no exposure to weather, no rush of seasons, no urgency. It exists outside the daily rhythm of change. This can be deeply calming for a tired mind. If thoughts arise, they do so quietly. If they fade completely. There is no pressure to stay awake. The stone does not notice whether you are alert or asleep. It holds you regardless. Awareness grows heavier now. Like something settling into a comfortable hollow, the body recognizes this stillness as permission. Permission to rest fully. Time behaves differently inside the earth. In caves, minutes lose their meaning, hours dissolve. Even centuries feel close together. Change happens so slowly that it is almost imperceptible. A single drop of water may take years to leave a mark. A thin mineral layer may take thousands of years to form. Nothing here measures progress. This absence of time pressure can feel deeply relieving. As you rest, imagine time loosening its grip. No schedule, no sequence. Just an endless present. The mind no longer needs to track anything. Awareness floats gently, without reference points. If sleep arrives now, it does not feel like falling. It feels like settling. The earth is very good at holding this kind of time, and you are allowed to borrow it. Now imagine finding a natural hollow within the cave, a place shaped by water and time to fit quietly around you. Nothing pressed. Nothing constrains. The space feels exactly right. Here, awareness can rest completely. Thoughts are distant now, like sounds heard from far away. They do not require a response. Breathing is slow and deep. The body is heavy, supported on all sides. This is a place of deep rest. Not sleep forced or demanded, just sleep allowed. The earth does not hurry at this moment. It holds it. And as this chapter fades, stillness deepens even further. After so much slow change, there are moments when the earth seems to pause. Not because it has stopped moving entirely, but because its movement has become so gentle that it fades into the background of awareness. Continents drift, but so slowly that they feel fixed. Oceans widen and narrow, but over spans of time so long that the surface appears unchanged. This is the state the Earth spends most of its life in. Resting, imagine looking at the planet from very far away. No borders, no names. Just broad shapes resting quietly in space. Nothing is urgent here. Nothing is in a hurry to become something else. As you rest, imagine your own awareness entering this same state. Thoughts no longer moving forward or backward, just resting where they are. The mind does not need to plan or remember. Breathing continues softly. The body is heavy, supported, settled. Continents at rest do not resist movement. They simply do not emphasize it. This is a helpful idea for a tired mind. You do not need to stop thinking completely. You can simply stop emphasizing thought. Let it fade into the background. The earth does not notice the difference between motion and stillness at this scale. Both are natural, both are allowed. As your awareness quiets, you may feel a sense of vast calm, like floating above something that has no concern for time. Nothing presses you forward, nothing pulls you back. You are resting in a moment that does not need to change. Across the continents, there are places where sound rarely travels far. Open plains, high plateaus, deserts stretching wide and uninterrupted. These places feel quiet not because nothing exists, but because nothing intrudes. The wind may move, heat may shift, but the overall feeling remains steady. Imagine standing, or rather, resting in a vast open land where nothing demands attention. The horizon is distant. The ground is stable. This kind of space allows the mind to relax its focus. There is nothing specific to watch, nothing to listen for. Awareness spreads outward, becoming less concentrated. As you rest, imagine this wide silence around you, not empty, just open. The earth holds these spaces easily. It does not try to fill them. This openness can feel like relief, like permission to stop holding on to details. Your breathing becomes slower now, deeper, more automatic. Thoughts may appear only faintly, like distant echoes that never arrive. This is not loss of awareness. It is an expansion. Wide areas simply being themselves unbothered by change, and you are allowed to rest this way too. Nothing needs to happen here. Mountains often appear active, dramatic, defined by height and contrast. But when seen over enough time, even mountains are quiet. They stand without effort. They do not strain to remain upright. They do not fight gravity. They rest in place, balanced by forces far older than any moment of movement. Imagine a mountain range seen in deep time. Millennia pass. Nothing seems to change. Snow comes and goes. Light shifts, but the mountain remains. This kind of stability does not require tension. As you rest, imagine your body finding this same balance, supported without strain, present without effort. You do not need to hold yourself upright. You do not need to maintain awareness. Like mountains, you are allowed to rest in place. The earth does not ask mountains to perform. It does not expect them to move, and you are not expected to do anything here. Awareness grows heavier, quieter. The idea of doing anything at all begins to feel unnecessary. This is deep rest. When continents rest, the surface grows quiet. Storms pass elsewhere, rivers slow, winds settle. There are moments when everything seems to pause at once. These moments do not last forever, but they are long enough to be felt. Imagine lying on the earth during such a pause. Nothing moving sharply, nothing changes quickly, just presence. As you rest, notice how the body responds to this idea. Muscles soften, the face relaxes, the jaw loosens. The mind no longer needs to scan for change. Awareness becomes simple, breath in, breath out. Nothing else matters. The earth does not fear these pauses, it welcomes them. And you are allowed to welcome them too. Sleep may feel very close now, or already present. There is no need to resist or encourage it. Just rest. Now imagine the earth as a whole, resting continents settled, oceans calm. The crust is steady and quiet. Deep beneath, processes continue, but so slowly they feel like stillness. The planet breathes on a scale far larger than any moment. This image does not ask for attention. It does not need to be held clearly. It simply exists. As this chapter comes to rest, awareness may drift almost completely away from words. Sound becomes texture rather than meaning. Thoughts dissolve into sensation. This is the deepest rest so far. And the earth holds it effortlessly. Long before there were lungs, there was rhythm. Not breath as we know it, but something slower, wider, more patient. The earth expands and releases in cycles, so long they feel stillness when you're inside them. Heat rises. Cool settles, pressure shifts, balance returns. This is the earth's breath, not counted, not controlled, just happening. As you rest, imagine this rhythm beneath you. Not something you need to match, but something you can float alongside. The planet does not inhale sharply. It does not exhale with force. Its breathing is spread across centuries, millennia, ages, a slow opening, a slow easing back. Your own breath begins to feel quieter when you imagine this. Less effort, less awareness of doing it right. Breathing becomes something that happens rather than something you manage. The earth has never tried to breathe better. It has never adjusted its rhythm for improvement. And you do not need to improve anything tonight. As awareness settles, you may notice the space between breaths more than the breaths themselves. That pause is important. That pause is rest. The earth lives mostly in those pauses. Nothing is expected to happen quickly. Nothing is missing. You are safe inside a rhythm that does not hurry. After expansion comes release, not collapse, not exhaustion, just easing back. The earth cools. Materials contract gently. Balance returns. This release does not undo what came before. It completes it. Imagine letting go without falling, relaxing without losing support. This is how the earth releases. As you rest, notice how natural this feels in your own body. A long exhale, a soft settling. Release does not mean emptiness. It means comfort. The planet has practiced this rhythm for billions of years. It knows exactly how much to let go. And tonight, your body knows too. You do not need to guide it. Breathing continues on its own. Awareness drifts. The mind no longer needs to participate. After expansion comes release, not collapse, not exhaustion, just easing back. The earth cools. Materials contract gently. Balance returns. This release does not undo what came before. It completes it. Imagine letting go without falling, relaxing without losing support. This is how the earth releases. As you rest, notice how natural this feels in your own body. A long exhale, a soft settling. Release does not mean emptiness. It means comfort. The planet has practiced this rhythm for billions of years. It knows exactly how much to let go. And tonight, your body knows too. You do not need to guide it. Breathing continues on its own. Awareness drifts. The mind no longer needs to participate. The earth's breath is part of a larger pattern, day and night, warm and cool, stillness and movement. None of these are problems to be solved. They are cycles that hold everything in place. As you rest, imagine being held by these cycles rather than pushed through them. You do not need to keep up. Time moves around you, not through you. The earth does not experience anxiety about its cycles. It trusts them, and you are allowed to trust them too. Awareness becomes very soft now, almost transparent. Words may blur, meanings may fade. That is not losing focus. That is rest deepening. For a moment, imagine your breath and the earth's breath overlapping, not synchronized, not matched, just existing in the same quiet space. Two rhythms, both slow, both steady, neither demanding attention. Then imagine letting go of that image too. No need to hold on to anything now. The earth continues breathing whether or not you notice. and you are free to drift fully into sleep. This chapter does not end with instruction. It fades the way breath fades between exhalations. Softly, naturally, there is no need to rush back. Returning does not have to mean waking. It can mean simply becoming lighter. Imagine awareness beginning to rise, not upward through space, but upward through sensation, the way warmth rises slowly through still air, the way mist lifts from water at dawn. Nothing pulls you, nothing pushes. You are not climbing, you are not leaving anything behind. The earth remains beneath you, steady and patient, exactly as it has always been. Its depth does not disappear when attention moves elsewhere. It continues quietly, without needing observation. As awareness becomes lighter, the sense of weight shifts. The body still rests, but the mind floats more easily above it. Thoughts, if they appear at all, feel distant and soft-edged. They do not demand engagement. They pass like faint reflections. Returning does not mean becoming alert. It means becoming gently aware of surface rhythms again. Breath, warmth, stillness. The surface world does not rush back in. It waits. The earth has always known how to hold transitions gently, and you are allowed to experience this one without effort. Nothing is required of you. The surface of the earth is often imagined as busy, loud, and demanding, but beneath that idea, there is another surface, one that rests quietly most of the time. Early morning fields, still forests before wind, plains under a wide sky. These places exist without urgency. As you rest, imagine arriving at the surface during one of these moments. When the world has not yet asked anything of you, the surface can be calm too. It is only activity layered on top that creates noise. Beneath that, the ground remains steady and patient. As awareness settles here, notice how safe this feels. Familiar, gentle. You are not being asked to do anything. The earth does not require acknowledgement. It does not need you to witness its calm. It offers it freely. Thoughts may drift in now that are closer to waking life, but they are quiet, unformed, without urgency. They can rest too. The surface does not demand effort when approached slowly. Even as awareness returns, something remains changed. Not dramatically, not noticeably, but quietly. The sense of deep time lingers. The body remembers the calm of stone. The mind remembers the patience of layers, water, and rest. This memory is not something you need to hold on to. It will remain without effort, like warmth that stays after moving away from a fire. Deep time does not weigh you down, it supports. It reminds the nervous system that nothing needs immediate resolution, that there is space, that there is time. As you rest, imagine carrying this calm forward, not as an idea, but as a feeling. The earth does not ask you to remember it consciously. It leaves its imprint quietly. Your body remains at ease. Sleep may already have arrived, or it may hover gently nearby. Both are perfect. The earth does not care which. Stories do not always need endings. Sometimes they simply fade into silence. This one does not need to conclude. It does not need to return anywhere specific. It can dissolve into background sound, into rhythm, into wrist. Words become softer now, less important. Meaning gives way to tone. Tone gives way to silence. If you are still listening, you do not need to stay with the words. They are free to drift past you. The earth continues its slow breathing beneath everything, whether or not it is named, and you are allowed to drift fully into sleep without noticing when it happens. There is nothing left to learn tonight, nothing left to follow. Now there is only rest, not rest as an achievement, not rest as something earned, just rest. The earth holds everything without effort. Continents, oceans, air, warmth, time. And it holds you too. You do not need to imagine anything else. You do not need to stay awake. The story has done what it needed to do. From here, sound may continue or it may fade. Awareness may drift or it may disappear entirely. All of it is welcome. Nothing is required. Nothing is missing. Sleep is free to arrive, carried gently by the same patience that shaped stone, water, and time. And the earth remains, quietly, holding everything just as it is.